Teachers of Reddit. What are some positive trends you have noticed in today's youth? Say what you will about Fortnite, but kids thank the bus driver now way more than they used to. Being kinder to animals. Jerks I grew up with used to hit strays with stones and sticks. When kids actually commit to something, they are extremely resourceful. I feel like it's being raised with the internet at their fingertips. My daughter is 4 and her preschool is teaching her Spanish. At home, when she wants to know the Spanish word for something, she asks me to Google it on my phone. It's so crazy. Collaborative learning through taking class notes on things like shared Google Docs. Students adding comments where they don't understand parts of a lecture, and other students will explain. I went to college much older than the norm and this blew my mind. We also had shared Dropboxes, flashcards, and even live Google Doc notes. Hey, that's a genius idea. I'll steal it. I have noticed that my freshmen, for the most part, tend to be very open, I guess is the right word. They seem to readily share their thoughts, ideas, problems, etc. with each other. They put each other's thumb fingerprints in their phones, readily share them, and don't really have anything to hide. They are also super honest and upfront with me. I don't know if this is truly going to turn out to be a positive thing in the long run, but their expectations of privacy are very different than mine. I think it is an offshoot of social media culture. I've said that about my kids and their friends. These generations are unblackmailable. This is a wonderful thing, because so many horrors come from shame and secrecy. There's been so much evil done in the past through manipulating people using shame. From the blackmailing of gays, to self-hatred and its projection. But I can't see it happening anymore. These kids won't have it. They are open about their problems. And they are incredibly supportive of each other during difficulties. They're growing into adults that just are not motivated by those fears or those secrets. It's amazing. I love the young. Kids are incredibly intelligent. Because of the internet they have now, they can learn about anything whenever and quickly. They also learn more because parenting is improved. Teaching is improved, and so they have so much more research on what they're doing that they become more efficient. The resumes I see from high school students are better than what I had graduating from college. I'd also second that they are much kinder. Some of the things I overhear flabbergast me with how different things are from when I was in high school 18 years ago. We're consistently teaching more life skills in high school as well. We teach resume writing in my senior English class. Conduct mock interviews with real companies. Our state requires a financial literacy course for a diploma, etc. This is probably going to get lost, but I teach emotionally disturbed kids who can't attend mainstream high school because of their behavior. These are kids that treat the majority of the people they interact with like they use slurs and swear and can just be all round horrible to each other. We have one kid who's full on autistic, but the parents refuse to have him diagnosed, so he's with us, not in an autism unit. They don't say a word to him. They listen to him rant about chickens and rabbits and even ask him questions about it. It's so bizarre to see kids frothing at the mouth and calling me a effing C and then gently redirecting the autistic kid away. They are so much more accepting of disabilities than my gen was. It's great. They are more pragmatic about the choices they make, taking measures to reduce the amount of student debt they are going to accrue. They are also much more accepting of people of other cultures. Much less discrimination, it seems. Not a teacher, but I work at a university in an administrative capacity. A huge part of our future plans for admitting Gen Z students is offering things like financial counseling to help people figure out how to afford college, because they are well known to be more cautious and conservative about such things. I teach 2nd grade. They are much kinder and they are much better readers than kids even 10 years ago. Illiteracy was a problem well into this century, since lots of poor students would also mean they're not reading. Now, kids are immersed into reading at about the same time they can talk because of that evil cell phone technology. My girlfriend's 7-year-old daughter was already reading before kindergarten. I don't think we were taught to put letters together until the end of kindergarten or 1st grade. I can't remember. They are more aware of the general goings on in the world and have a strong sense of justice. Along with that, as others have mentioned in this thread, they are more accepting of differences. The bully victim trope is less of a thing now, where I am. At least, and kids usually love and let live. The flip side of this is that a lot of kids are getting faulty information and a lot of them carry fairly shocking, uninformed opinions because of what they've heard or read on the internet. Yeah, this second paragraph is sadly very true. I will also say that it's true of many adults as well though lol. It seems to me that students today are increasingly more aware, curious, and resourceful, everything from climate change to science, from the arts to socio-political considerations. They question things more directly, and are adept at exploring and finding answers as they adroitly navigate the internet. Imagine growing up and anything that interested you just look it up. Is making for very smart kids. Kids are much more kind and accepting of those with special needs. Just more kind and accepting in general. Actually. Edit. To add more context. I'm currently teaching preschool, but this comment was based on my time in 2nd grade. We had a few students on the spectrum and kids just seemed to understand their differences and not react or tease the way they did when I was that age. We had a student still in diapers for medical reasons. Everyone knew and no one teased. There was also a lot less "you can't play with us" type drama than I remember. I've never worked with high schoolers, so no comment there. But if our elementary schoolers keep it up, the future is bright. To add on to that, our school almost has like no bullies other than just the popular girl group being a popular girl group. I have tons of friends in different grades and almost no one is downright awful to anyone. They may talk smack about that person or whatever, but no one physically or mentally bullies anyone. It is a great thing to grow up in such a nice school. Nerd geek culture is more accepted. That would mean less bullying, which is great. I teach year 1. I've noticed that they care a lot about the environment. Always wanting to recycle. Stop driving cars because of the smoke. One kid even saw me drive into school and told me I wasn't caring about the environment and should ride a bike. They're also incredibly empathetic towards their friends, peers, animals. Doesn't matter. For 6-7-year-olds who are typically supposed to be self-absorbed, I think this is pretty cool. They are very accepting as well. There's a boy in the class next door with ASD. And occasionally when he has a meltdown, the kids from next door come to my class. After explaining why, all of my kids understand that his brain works differently and at the moment, his brain is probably confused and doesn't know how to process his feelings. None of them make fun of him, call him bad or naughty, which I think definitely would have happened when I was a kid. My 6-year-old just finished kindergarten, and there were 2 kids in his class with some sort of issues that caused them to act out sometimes. My kid came home once and just stated as fact that Jonah had a bad day at school. He needed help from our classroom helper to make his body settle down. So we were all quiet for a bit to help him out. And the caring and understanding in that statement just gets me right in the feels. When I was that age we were all jerks. And you made fun of the kids who acted out. I'm so glad my kid's generation is learning to be caring and empathetic. I'd say they are better at forming their own opinions on issues and morals, which I would largely attribute to their access to the internet and thus getting to see and hear a wider variety of viewpoints. I remember when it used to be that my dad likes Bush so I like Bush kind of thing, but now I hear kids have actually individual viewpoints and intelligent conversations about world issues. Plus, I feel like they're more open and honest. It's not uncommon for kids to tell me how they're feeling or what's going on with them in their personal lives or what they think of what's going on with the class or me. Usually all of this without any prompting. It helps me adjust to what they need and feel and want, and also just helps us build that bond. When I was their age, 7th grade, I was a steel trap when it came to talking to teachers about what was going on with me. And pretty much all my peers were the same. As a health path, students tend to be drinking a lot more water than when I was at school. Probably around 80% of kids tend to have water bottles, I've noticed now. As everyone else has said, kids' empathies are through the roof. They are more connected to each other. And while that can cause problems and bullying, a lot of which we can't see, for example, Snapchat, It also means they genuinely know each other better. Something we've also focused on, which has changed from even 4-5 years ago, is their health and level of stress. While they still want to get into a good college at my school, they are starting to focus on finding the right school for them, which very rarely is an Ivy. I commend them a ton, because I still have that elitism bias. But I'm working on it. Also, kids are more outspoken about their identity. The number of trans kids at my small school seems high, but is really the appropriate size for the grade level. According to average statistics, we're offering training next year to all of our seniors to lead discussions on race, bias, inequality, etc. because they demanded that we do so. I love that they're willing to advocate for themselves and what they need. It makes my job so much rewarding when I know we're providing what they need. Kids start to raise their voice and spread their ideas towards the world earlier and start to show a better ability to solve daily problems with ingenious and imaginative solutions. A few decades ago, finding a minor that was an activist would be extremely rare. Nowadays, a lot of them are actually trying to change even the slightest of world issues. I don't think this is a new thing. IDK about high schoolers, but college students, who aren't much older, used to be a huge driving force of activism in the last century. Honestly, everything is better today. Kids are, smarter, kinder, more aware of the world around them. On that last point, I think that's completely due to the internet age. They have access to so much more than we did, and a lot of them use that power really well. Art teacher here. My 6-year-old students are really good with encouraging statements, absolutely unprompted by us. We were working with Clay, and the shyest girl, who had never spoken once, said, "Wow Riley, you did a great job on your bunny. It looks beautiful." Or when a girl cried because hers broke, a student said, "Don't worry Coco, you can repair it. It'll be okay." Just very kind things like that. You wouldn't believe a 6-year-old would have the selflessness to say. Boys feeling free to show affection towards each other and being more intimate and physical in their interactions makes the boys happier and contributes to an overall better classroom environment. Not a teacher, but I've noticed a thing going around my school that the whole class tends to band together and become like a family. Also, if a random person, whether child, teacher or even parent, harasses one of them, they kinda band and attack the person, usually with words and death threats for the kids. They got us in the first part, not gonna lie. They are not only more open about their own mental health, they are vigilant about their friends as well. Twice I've had students come to me concerned about a peer, once because a girl had started hurting herself and once because a boy was showing hints of suicidal thoughts. Both students are currently doing much better. Not a teacher, but I've noticed the younger generation will not accept just any job with lousy pay. This is positive because eventually the scale on lower labor for more work will be tipped, as there will be shortages. Also, the younger generation aren't afraid to tell their bosses that whatever extra work is not required of them or is not within their job description. A lot of companies has been taking advantage of people recently, and yet this is often framed by adults as entitled generation is too damn picky and wants to be treated like special snowflakes at work and earn CEO pay straight out of college. I do teacher aid work for K 2nd grade, and man, Fortnite is so popular with the kids. I used to hate hearing about Fortnite every day, until I realized that everyone was excited about Fortnite. The children didn't discriminate when they were excited. Boys and girls and students of color all would floss together. They have something to unite them. Where I didn't feel this way when I was in elementary school. I learned to allow children to be children.